Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The pandemic is creating challenges for everyone, particularly for families with children. The good news is that 4-H programs across the country are offering a wide variety of safe, hands-on, positive youth development opportunities. Here in Vermont, 4-H has grown dramatically since the pandemic started, and by the end of this year, the program is expecting to reach more youth than ever before. To learn more about 4-H and the programs available to young people, we're joined via Zoom with Sarah Kleinman. Sarah is the State Director of the UVM Extension 4-H program. Good afternoon, Sarah. Thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's my pleasure.
So bring us up to speed on 4-H and how you've adapted since the pandemic hit.
Oh, goodness. Well, like everybody else, back in March, we really had a pause initially and figure out how we could continue to provide opportunities for youth, knowing that they're no longer at schools and people are pretty much sticking to their homes and isolated. And so we did the best we could to continue to provide virtual opportunities, learned a whole bunch of new technology, and also encouraged our 4-H clubs to continue meeting. We moved, well, I think one of the beauties, if there is such silver lining in terms of this pandemic, is that it broke down a lot of our barriers. Our staffing pattern is such that our 4-H educators were servicing counties and there were no county divides anymore. So our staff were really able to come together, work as teams, and reach people across county lines, across state lines. Really, we even had some international students end up joining our programs. We also collaborated with other states too, and it was just this wonderful moment where we were sharing ideas with colleagues all across the country and providing as many opportunities to reach as many youth as possible at all times of day, knowing that schools and families were in different different mindsets and had different needs.
Right.
So some people might be available at 11 a.m., others might at 4 o'clock. We just didn't know. So we did as much as we can, as quickly as we can, and making sure that we were somewhat consistent throughout the spring and then retooling again in the summertime as well.
Yeah, you did really a remarkable job. And there's a new 4-H white paper that highlights the opportunity gap. And tell us a little bit more about that. You kind of hinted at that, and things are shifting a little bit.
They are. We're really taking a deep dive in terms of looking at equity and how we can reach youth and families in their communities, recognizing that there are some barriers and inconsistencies. I think one of the challenges that we've all learned with COVID is that not everybody has equal access to broadband or technology. The opportunity gap talks about the difference between the achievement gap and this opportunity gap, whereas achievement gap is really about bringing in a new program or a new technique to try to solve an identified problem. In this case, where we're looking at the opportunity gaps is figuring out how we can shift resources, whether it's staffing, time, or the kinds of supplies that we have, and make sure that we are adapting to people's needs and providing as many opportunities in as many modalities as possible. This report also identified really 3 key areas that, especially for 4-H, we feel is important to address as we move forward. Teen mental health is really important right now. There's a report out as well and some research that backs that teens are reporting much higher levels of concern when it comes to their mental health. And then we're also looking at the development of skills and employability, as well as just education.
Well, you know, 4-H has created a public service announcement that highlights these key areas that you're talking about. So let's take a look at that.
We believe talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. There are many causes, but it mostly comes down to race, what their parents earn, and where they live. It's made worse by unequal access to technology, healthy foods, and mentors. It's time we provide opportunities for all our kids. Nothing should hold a kid back, and if we all pull together, nothing will. Visit 4h.org today and join us.
Terrific. So how is Vermont 4-H stepping up to meet these areas and these disparities that you're looking at?
It's really a multifaceted approach, and it will take some time for us to fully make the shift. But as we embrace this opportunity for all framework, we are trying to ensure that our programs, especially now during COVID, are not just online, that we have other products and other ways that youth can engage, whether it is paper products and activity sheets that could be downloaded off the internet, or we have had a program that we'll highlight, I think, a little bit later, Out of the Box, where we can also bring tools home. Our 4-H at Home website has all sorts of activities on it. There's, again, some downloadable activity sheets. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch various videos and learn from those. It lists all of our virtual programs that we have that are being offered. Again, we recognize that not everybody has access to broadband and
It's a problem in Vermont.
It is. It absolutely is. And so we are considering all different ways, partnering with schools who might be delivering meals and lunches to make sure that those supplies that we have to be able to take part in some of our programs could get delivered in that way. And then we're encouraging our 4-H clubs. Back in about end of July, early August, we got the go-ahead to ensure that our 4-H clubs could continue to operate in person, certainly with some parameters and health safety concerns in place. But many of them have stepped up and have been able to continue to work with their youth. We know that connection right now is just so important with people. This distancing that we've had, physical distancing, and in some cases the social distancing, has really made people quite isolated. And so, and positive youth development too is really all about that, building a sense of connection and having role models and having somebody to help you along and move you in this thriving trajectory. And so we're encouraging that as much as possible.
So the clubs and you know, all of this stuff is very important, but there are kind of new offerings that you have created because of the pandemic. So we've seen some of those on Across the Fence. They're terrific. So why don't you quickly talk about some of those new programs?
Sure, absolutely. I think we mentioned the 4-H at Home website. And so everything that we have that's available is listed on that 4-H at Home site as well. Again, we've really retooled to make sure it's an easy one-stop shop for folks who might be looking for resources. It's also great for educators to be able to come there and see if there's a connection between what they're teaching in their classroom to what we've got available. We also have this Out of the Box program that was led down in Rutland County, and Out of the Box was really, truly tremendous. It was a collaboration of a lot of organizations pulled together by the Vermont Youth Project, Mentor Connections, Project Visions, the Department of Health, a whole bunch of others that created these kits, and they were delivered every 2 weeks throughout the entire summer. The kits had all sorts of tangible supplies that could then be, and they were brought to local communities and to youth who are experiencing homelessness, to hotels. Police were able to help deliver these kits. And then in addition to the supplies and the activities that go along with those supplies, we did have little webinars that might help the folks that were using those to learn how to use that. So in the one case there was cheese making. I think in another case they learned how to do s'mores in a box. So that was really quite successful as well. We also offered a Dream Farm program.
Yeah, I love this program. Go ahead.
Really creative that combines soil science, agricultural entrepreneurship, even land use planning. There were some incredibly big concepts that were learned during this particular program, where the youth came together for multiple days to, as it says, design your dream farm.
Yeah, I remember the participants telling us that they learned a lot, not just farming, but also good environmental practices and what they think is important. Let's take a look.
We learned that there has to be a riparian buffer around the pond and the stream so that nothing falls into the water and pollutes it. My mom and dad have a little cottage, and then I have a huge house.
Riparian buffer is a pretty big concept for a little girl. It's just, but she's so confident, and there it is, and clearly she learned a lot.
And she knows what it is. It's amazing. Yeah.
So another example of 4-H stepping up is what you did around Annual State Day.
Yes. So we can't forget the fact that the 4-H year starts on October 1st. And so we had a solid 6, almost 7 months of traditional 4-H experiences before the pandemic hit. And we don't want to lose sight of that. Again, the 4-H clubs took a bit of a hiatus and somewhat went underground while we were launching and elevating all these other opportunities in the early days of the late spring. But State Day has always been one of our key celebratory opportunities where youth will highlight and showcase their projects that they have worked so hard on. And so since we couldn't come together as we usually do down at the Berry Auditorium, we worked hard to be able to provide a virtual State Day. And so it's really been amazing that we were able to, through the use of video and pictures, very simply showcase all of the amazing work, whether it was the clothing or public speeches, and still go ahead and evaluate them and make sure that our youth gained feedback so that they know how to better themselves.
And dancing, I mean, it just covers the gamut. It's really fantastic. Are current 4-H programs offered really just after school, or has that shifted too?
Well, that's the $1 million question right now. We after the summer, we took assessment of our participants to find out what their needs are and in terms of when best to offer many of our programs. And especially because there's no one size fits all for the state. Every school district, as we know, is doing something a little bit different right now. And there's, of course, an increase in homeschool populations and learning pods. So the answer is we're doing both. We are offering programs. Some of them are being offered in the mornings during the weekday. Many of them are being offered around 3:30 in the afternoon after school's over. We also have some that are in the evenings. We're doing our best when it's appropriate to record these programs so that they can get posted to our YouTube channel. And we're also doing our best to make connections, again, as I think I mentioned earlier, with the education community, because there's definitely connection to personalized learning plans. A lot of our STEM programs will support the proficiencies that educators are trying to reach in their classrooms. And we think that they're perfect opportunities for the educators to then direct their students on their virtual learning days to our programs and try to make those connections.
Great. Sarah, we are just about out of time. I want to make sure people know how to get in touch because you still need volunteers. You'll keep this up as long as we need you to. But if people want to learn more about 4-H, and especially those interested in volunteering, you'll find the UVM Extension 4-H program online at the address on your screen. It's uvm.edu/extension/youth. You can also reach the state 4-H office by calling a toll-free number 1-877-571-0668. Sarah Kleinman, the head of Youth and Family Programs for 4-H, thank you so much for joining me today and for all you're doing.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.